Hi guys, I'm Daniel and this is Dan's Tech World. So in today's video guys, we are looking at this. This is a Martin Mac 250 Plus from 1999. Now for people that don't know, I am an LD or lighting designer. I do lighting for DJs, for clubs, for bands, for boxing matches, for anything like that. And this light is now in my ownership and it's a great light. But the question that we have today is this light worth it in 2020 when this thing is 21 years old? Now the short answer is yes and the long answer is no. Yes, because it's still a moving head light and it still does all the moving head things, and at the end of the day it's still a moving head and it's still a light that's used in the industry, and there's still quite a few of these on rigs, surprisingly, especially in theatres and stuff. But no. And the main reason is, well, it's just too heavy. Like, this thing is 24.5 kilos for something that only has a 250 watt discharge bulb. So not only does it burn through your electric bill at around 300 and something watts draw from the wall, but it's big, it's difficult to rig, and you have to have 4 clamps to hold this light up. Now I have 90 watt LED moving heads which actually put out the same amount of power as this and are about half the height. They still have a 3-facet prism like this guy. They still have all the fancy features that this does, like the colour, the nice colours, the DMX, the 16-bit pan and tilt motors, all the things you expect from a moving head today. And I haven't seen many real videos on this light and whether or not it's still a good light. And well, this is my job, it's my industry to check out lights, and I get to play with some very old kit and some very new stuff. In fact, I've played with Martin's newer stuff and it's pretty good. It's not anywhere near like what it used to be like with these guys, but I will say that this guy has stood the test of time. Now this light is from around 1999, specifically this model, and I know because I've had these apart to clean the damn things because they were full of dust and optically they were very imperfect. Like, it was like looking through the bottom of a milk bottle that had had stained milk on it for a week. It really wasn't nice. So I took these entirely apart. I might have some pictures that I can throw up on the screen now of me taking apart these lights, but I cleaned them, each individual gobo, each individual piece of diachronic glass for the colour wheel, all of that all cleaned, all the ballasts cleaned in the bottom. Yeah, it was an extensive task and it was about 3 days work to get 2 of these lights working, but the third of these I ended up using as spare parts because it had more issues than the others, so I fixed 2 and used one for a donor power supply, donor colour wheel, one of the gobos that had a crack in it, and the glass on the front for the lens. And well, it's working. Now, yeah, these lights are pretty well served. They do only have 3-pin DMX, which is a little bit weird for a theatrical light, but overall, they work great. I just wouldn't recommend them really. Like, there is the Mac 250 Krypton and the Mac 250 on tour at this point, and they do a much better job, and you can get them for around the same price. These just aren't cheap. You know, they hold their value weirdly, but that's a good thing. That means that if you come to sell a pair of these, you're pretty much, at this point anyway, not really going to lose your money because they've gone to their lowest value. And they're still great and they're still used, and anyone that's been in any kind of industry, anyone that's done anything professional, will have heard of Martin Professional and their range of Mac lights, specifically their Viper series, the Mac 2000 Profile, their washes. Their washes are still used quite common actually on stages, especially smaller stages like small arenas, small tours, things like that. You know, medium theatres, you'll often see Martin Mac 2000s still on tour, but you just will not see the 250s anymore. They're just not really worth it to carry around because, like I say, 2 of these in a flight case, you're looking at, you know, around 50 kilos. That's a lot of weight. So all in, you're probably looking around 55 to 60 kilos, including flight case, for just hauling 2 of these. And they're not bright enough to warrant that. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great fixture. Wonderful to use, and it's still quite fun. Still has a prism, still has beautiful gobos, still has a nice colour wheel, still has motorised focus. All very, very premium features at the time, I must add. And honestly, they're great lights. I mean, they are pretty road ready. Like, these are these are solid lights. Like, yes, the tops are made of plastic, but it's really rugged 90s plastic. That's pretty well toughened. Like, it's not built cheaply in any way, but these weren't cheap lights. You know, they've got a metal base, they've got massive motors. Yes, they're quite complex, but they're quite easy to repair. Like, there's no screws to take out the separate gold ball wheel and the separate colour wheel or anything like that. It's just literally pins that you pull out, disconnect the cables, ta-da, done. It's a bit of a ball ache when you're taking everything out of the light, including the light. For instance, the lamp in these, if I spin this head around, the light in the back of this, you can't touch for like probably 15 to 20 minutes if you've had this on for any period of time. It says 2 minutes on the back of here. Completely ignore that. Don't touch it for quite a while. You will get burnt. I've learned that the hard way already. Also, you can't touch the bulbs. Like, that's the weird bit. You can't touch the bulbs in these lights. You have to hold it with some sort of cloth or special gloves, because if you get your fingerprints on them, anyone that knows like discharge lights, you can damage the filament and they just don't work anymore, and they can just blow up, and I mean blow up, like they will explode. It's quite dangerous, to be honest, and a lot of people just don't want to deal with them. And the fact that in this day and age, in 2020, and for the last few years actually, you've been able to get cheap Sharpie lights using 7R beams, and you've been able to get LED fixtures that are coming down in price quite a lot from what they used to be. And you've got the Chinese companies that are producing these really cheap lights. Yes, they're not as good as quality, but for a lot of people, they do the job, especially in low-cost theatres where they don't have the budget for these. So, these lights, I like them, but realistically in today's age, they're not bright enough. If these were even just a little bit brighter, like say 350, 500 watts, then yeah, they would still be really well used, and they'd probably be worth more than they actually are now. Now, the thing is, these are built to last. Like this one specifically, and the other one that I've got downstairs, are 21 years old and have done pretty well and are still working. Yes, they've not been cleaned. Yes, I was probably the first person ever to properly look at them inside and clean them and repair them and check the belts, because I don't think they'd ever been really serviced. Now, for people that don't realise, these actually came out of my old school, and my old school got knocked down and then there was a new one rebuilt. So I remember seeing these, and then they ended up in a local theatre, and now I currently have them to repair them. They're great, but they're just huge, and I really wouldn't recommend. I would recommend going for a cheaper light at this point, because to get something from Martin again that's modern, like the Martin MH5, the Rush, which I think is a 75 watt LED, you're looking about £1,000 a light, which for a lot of people, it just really isn't worth it. And the fact that you can get these for between $350 to $550 a pair, some people just prefer to go with these. Yes, you can't hang these if you've got any kind of DJ truss, like, just because they weigh too much. Like, two of these, you know, if you're hanging 4 moving heads, that normally goes out like, that's normally the entire weight limit for a modern like DJ based truss system. So you can't really hang more than 2 of these, and then maybe a couple of other lights, and then if you've got a couple of other lights, you'll probably have LED stuff. So it just doesn't make sense to own these for a lot of people. I only have them because, well, they're fun toys to play with, and I was restoring these to actually working condition, which took way too long. But they work. They only have 3-pin DMX, no 5-pin, which is weird for a theatre light and a touring light, but they're built by Martin, and they were built in a time where everything was built reliably and sturdy and just worked. And I love them for that, but I just wouldn't recommend them. Now, they're great. Absolutely wonderful lights. But in 2020, there are cheaper and, unfortunately, better options than this light. So, that's it for now. If you've got any questions, please throw them down in the comments below. Yeah, wonderful light, but just not worth it for most people at this point. I would recommend something much cheaper, something LED. You know, it just makes sense in the long term for you. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. I've been Daniel, this has been Dan's Tech World. If you have enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't liked the video, then that button also exists. But if you did hit the dislike button, please tell me down in the comments section below why you disliked the video and what you thought. Also, if you have any comments, questions, ideas, anything for any videos, anything that you want to see, any questions about my job, what I do, about this light, about my other lighting, if you want to see like lighting tours, anything like that, then of course throw those down in the comments. below. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. I've been Daniel. This has been Dan's Tech World. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.